This morning because we have a real treat for you. David Ross, our favorite chef here today. Welcome back.
Morning.
And throughout the morning, the rest of the show, we're going to feature 3 fall recipes because it's starting to turn. I mean, yesterday's weather was evidence of the fall is coming.
And it's a great time of year to end the summer with 3 fall desserts using apples, pears, and peaches.
Okay, what are we starting with?
We're going to start with apple cobbler. And what I've got is obviously the apple base, and all these desserts are basically the same. They're baked fruit with a different topping.
Okay.
Very old-fashioned, traditional American recipes. I happen to be using Fuji apples, but you can use any kind of a sweet apple that's got a little bit of tartness. We don't want to use Red Delicious, but we could also use John O' Gold. They're too sweet and they break down in cooking. So I've just peeled and cored the apple. And I like big chunks, Teresa, because if you slice it like you would for a pie, it will break down in the cooking and kind of turn into applesauce.
Gets a little too mushy.
A little too mushy. And then I've just got some granulated sugar that brings out the natural sugars, cinnamon, nutmeg, and then as a thickener for this recipe, we're going to use old-fashioned tapioca.
Oh, instead of flour.
Instead of flour. Now, that's what our moms used to use years ago. And it's little natural pearls of tapioca that'll thicken up that sauce as it cooks. We just dot that with a little butter, and now we've got the topping. Now, cobbler, if you want to make it simple, you can buy like those tubes of biscuit dough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and just throw those on top.
Oh, just roll it out and...
Just open it up, take a biscuit off, put it right on top.
Get out.
Yeah, it's basically the apple version of chicken and dumplings is what we're doing here.
But you've made your own.
We've done our own. Now, what's unique about this is it's
got a different color to it.
And that comes from nutmeg and cinnamon, which kind of accents the cinnamon in the apples. We've also got some brown sugar in there. And it's unlike a pie crust dough in that when it bakes up, it's going to be kind of bread-like, like a biscuit.
It looks almost like cookie dough.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a sugar cookie dough.
Okay. Now so you're making an individual cobbler here.
Well, this is like a cobbler. This is like, I guess,
me or 2 other people.
This is like, yeah, this would be like Mark
This
size.
is Mark size. Okay.
Whoa. This is a nice big cobbler.
All right. Oh, that was so you just threw it on top. Now you're just kind of pinching off the sides.
Yeah, I just do it with my hands. And what's a little bit different about my cobbler is that I'm going to cover the entire top with this dough.
Okay.
You don't need to.
Some people blob it on there.
They do. Kind of like dumplings again. And that's okay. This way, it holds in all the moisture from the apples down below, and that's kind of why I put it in the glass dish.
And that would go in the oven for how long?
These traditionally, all of these recipes we're going to do today are about 45 minutes in about a 375-degree oven.
Okay. Wow, that is really easy, and it looks delicious. 2 more fall fruit recipes coming up throughout the show. All of the recipes are already posted at KXLY.com. Just click on recipes. We've got peaches and pears coming up, and we've got sundaes, Kirk Hawkins. And welcome back. We find ourselves back in the kitchen this morning. We're talking about some of the wonderful fruits that are in season this time of year. And as we head into fall, the desserts that are comfort foods. David Ross, our chef. And David, we've already done apple cobbler this morning. So now we're going to dive into the peaches, which have been fabulous.
Yeah, peach crisp. Here's an example of a beautiful Spokane area peach this year. They're huge and wonderfully sweet. This recipe is, again, same basic as a cobbler. Baked fruit on the bottom, but now the topping's different.
Okay, and I'm always confusing crisp, cobbler, Betty, all of the different types.
So
how do I keep it straight?
Cobbler is like a biscuit type bread crust. Crisp is more of a crunchy texture, and then Betty, when we get to it, is basically bread and butter.
Oh, okay.
Hey, hold it.
Uh-oh, Mark has questions.
Crisp is in crispy.
Crispy.
Okay, work with me. Crisp, I'm done. Thank you.
And Mark's absolutely right. Peaches, sugared again to bring out their natural sugar, and then a little bit of lemon juice because that also helps accent the flavor of the peach.
And will it keep them from turning brown too?
It will.
Okay.
It will. And you notice I did leave the peel on.
I did
This
notice
is a
that.
very rustic, traditional American dish. We don't need to go to the trouble of taking off the peel or any of that.
Makes it so much easier.
It does.
Too. Okay.
And then flour for a thickener.
All right.
And that's it.
Okay.
Now the topping, which is really unique for this recipe, a lot of crisps have like oatmeal or granola or something. This is the traditional method, and it's butter, nutmeg, cinnamon, and brown sugar. Those are the base ingredients, and then a little bit of baking powder. It's got a little bit of flour in it, but the two elements that will make this crispy are an egg that you beat up and you put into the topping, and that kind of brings
Holds
it together.
everything